Hi everyone, it's Emilia here. Welcome to my channel and to a new video. Today I took a crafty shape lantern from Stamperia and I turned it into a mini album. In today's video I want to show you the process of creating that album. I wouldn't say it's a tutorial as I create albums only because I just love to do it. I figure it out every time I make one, like the measurements, the spine, everything is not always the same. I do not have like a recipe for it. Maybe now when I created few, I do have some experience and I know which techniques work good, at least for me. But I don't want to say that, I am an expert and I'm going to teach you, but definitely I can share my process and show you how I create the album. It is a bit chaotic. So please bear that in mind, that when I create the mini albums or albums, I also create a lot of mess on my desk. And I had to stop so many times during this video, during the recording, to clear the space so you'll be able to see what I'm doing. I'm showing you examples of a few mini albums I created, and the jar actually is very similar to something we'll be creating today in a structure, because the first and the last page of the album will be stuck to the cover. Once I decided on the shape of the cover, like for the lanterns here, I will measure the space actually which can be for my pages. So in the lantern you've got that solid space in the middle, and it was 7.5 by 9.5 centimeters that I'm safe to have the pages there. The pages are slightly smaller than that space on the covers. Very difficult for me to explain it, but this is how I work. I will start with choosing the covers, then actually building the pages for that, and then later I will create the spine. So for the pages I took a A4 piece of card, cutted it into 3 strips, which the height is 9.5 centimeter, the height of my pages, and then I scored them at the 7.5 centimeter. So each page is like a card folded in half in the center, and then I will cut off the rest of the paper. A part of the one I'm going to leave it on the one when I scored the again, and it will be like a mini book at the end of my album on the last page. So I will cut off anything what is remaining to create the pages, and then I will keep those little offcuts as well for something I may die cut later or punch later out of these pieces. So now I will show you how the pages look. As you can see, each page is folded in half, and it will be attached to the spine where the opening is. And now I will create the spine, which is like a hidden hinge. I'm starting with the strip the same height as my pages, and then I will score it at 1 centimeter for the flap which goes inside the page, and 0.8 centimeter for the gap between the pages. It's hard for me to explain what exactly to do, but I hope once you will see how I will put the spine together, you will know what I mean. will see that I use a double-sided tape and the glue together a lot. I never trust the tape fully. I did make some albums in the past with the tape only, and basically they do not last as long as I would love. That's why I'm always use the combination of both. I would use the glue only, but the tape is good because it holds quickly, and then once the glue dries, it's kind of permanent. So that's why I decided to use both some time ago, and I'm really happy with the results. Now I'm measuring the spine because I need another piece of paper, the same width as my spine. I will cut that strip and the same size, height. I mean, you can create it slightly higher, but I like to use the same height, and then I just score it add a lot of scores very near each other to create that, to make that paper more flexible. This paper will be covered with fabric later, and that will be like the second part of the spine, but there will be a little gap between those two, but I will explain it later. At the moment I'm going back to the covers as I decided to paint them, and while they will be drying I will be creating pages. So I used just the acrylic paint. You can go straight with the color on those crafty shapes, but if you use lighter color, maybe you could prime the base first. So I will do one side, wait for it to dry, and then I will use the same color on the other side. And while that will be drying, I will start creating my pages. For the album, I'm using my collection from Stamperia, Golden Harmony. It has many lovely elements, very delicate colors. This album is for any occasion. There are some autumnal elements in the collection, but it can be used for any occasion. So as you can see, there is lots of images to cut out, tags, envelopes, frames, and I'm going to use some of them today. Apart of that, I will use the washi pad, some elements of it at least, and then the wrap-ons. I will decorate the album at the end of the video once all the main elements of the pages will be finished, and then I like to add those little elements at the end, and I'm just going to do that today as well. I will show you some of the images and frames which I'm going to use, and then I will start decorating the pages. I like to pre-cut all my backgrounds first, and then I will be adding different elements to it. Frames, flaps, I don't know, little frames, whatever I fancy, or whatever it goes well with what I have on the paper, with the design or with the images. I cannot really say I have a rule. I do not really plan what I'm going to create, so that makes creating more fun for me. Of course, if I would create a tutorial, maybe I would create an album first and then give you exact instruction creating the second one, but because this is my first try with that exact mini album, I will be figuring out everything as I go. So bear with me, and you can see how my creative process, and I hope you can learn something from that. So for the first page I decided to add that green frame to the background, and then a little flap which is slightly smaller. For most of the flaps in the pages in my albums I use magnets. Sometimes I use other elements like little tags or acetate pieces, but usually I go with the magnets. Of course, there is many different ways on creating pages, on creating flaps, pockets. Today I'm just showing you what I'm doing, but like I said at the beginning, I don't feel like an expert in it. There are some very detailed tutorials on YouTube. I do watch some of the channels. I don't remember the names now. But I will link them in the description box below the video with the product list. One is Carolina's Crafts and the other one I don't remember. Carolina has many tutorials for many different albums. I try to choose what would work for me. I don't like to create the same pieces as other people do, so I always, when I watch her tutorials, I maybe choose something that would work in my albums. But yeah, so this is what you could do as well. You can watch some tutorials and then you can experiment and enjoy the creative process. You will make mistakes. I make a lot of mistakes, but they are quite easy to cover. So I want to really encourage you to try, because it's great fun. These are lovely projects. They can be given as little gifts. When you add photos to it, you can also have some journaling spaces. I believe they can be just such a gorgeous books to keep, and to remember special moments. For the second page, I'm also creating a flap. I don't know if you noticed, but all the flaps are cut with the size is like cut to the size of the element I have on top, and I use the craft paper to create the flaps. Today I'm using single-sided paper mostly. That's why I need that craft paper underneath. And this panel, this little flap, will be kept like in place with the two little tags, one on the top, one on the bottom. I'm going to add here, and then I will add a string between and so you can tie those two flaps to keep the the big flap in place. I'm sometimes lost in my thinking and explaining, but hopefully the video can explain itself. Anyway, I usually decorate the pages, but I do not adhere them to the base of the page, to the craft card. I do it when the page is almost finished, when there are only little pieces to add. So you will see I created all those pages first, then I will adhere them to the bases, and then I will adhere the pages to the spine. For the second set of pages, I will have a simple frame on one side, and for that I use cutting dies, just rectangles, two dies together to create that frame, and then on the other side, on the other page, I will have a little pocket. This pocket, it's just a small piece of paper from the collection, scored on the edges 1 centimeter from each edge roughly, and then I use a punch in the middle to create like that little opening to, I don't know, it's more like for decoration than for anything else. And this will be the second set. I will create one more set here, but the rest of the pages I will make off the camera. Once I've got all the pages ready, I'm going to adhere them to the bases of the page. The first one has no decoration at all. This is just the paper with the design, because this will be seen through the holes in the lantern. And then I will adhere all of them. It's easier for me to do it before I will attach them to the spine, because then later, you know, it's more tricky. At the moment I can still open the pages, place them flat on the desk, and then adhere each decorated page to that. Very often I would add the numbers on the pattern paper and on the page, so I know which page goes where, and it makes my work easier. Not always I do it, but it's good to do it. Then you're not confused when you're adhering everything, because once you've got them all, you know, you may think, oh, this one goes better with the other one, and you start mixing them in different way, and not always it will work as good as you want, because you have to look where the openings, where the flaps are, you know, where the magnets are. So it's just I find it easier when I actually add the numbers on the papers and on the pages. When adhering the pages to the spine, I use double-sided tape and glue, like I said before. Do not go with the glue very near the bottom of the spine, like bottom of the page. The glue may leak out. Try to do it slowly. You want all those pages neat, straight, you know, the same direction, so there is no point of rushing here. I rushed a little bit. I added tape on both sides on the last piece of the spine, and actually I only need this tape on the top, because I'm adhering the last page to the cover, so you will see that tape was stuck to the desk, but not a big deal. So now the first page and the last page will be attached to the cover, but before that, of course, I need to create that fabric spine. So I took the piece which I created at the beginning of the video, which has the same width as my spine. I take the piece of fabric from Golden Harmony collection. It's a lovely design. This fabric is very thin, so actually it doesn't add any bulk to the covers, which I love, and I think I will use it more in the future. I will cover that little piece of paper first. So what you can see now, this will be, I mean now, where you can see the craft card, that will be inside of the spine, and then the fabric will be on the outside. On the left hand side, where the lantern has the holes, there is very little space to attach the spine to the cover, but I think I can manage. But before that, I'm going to add a piece of lace on the top and on the bottom of the main spine. This will also cover the joinings of the pages, and it add interesting detail to the project. Now I'm going to adhere the fabric spine to the cover, to the front cover. Remember that you cannot go with the fabric where the hole is, because then it will be visible on the front. So just trim it as much as possible, of course, if you will be creating something like that. And then I will adhere that front page to the cover. This way you make sure that the fabric spine stays in place, because that page is also holding it in the place, and then you've got a lovely design peeking through that openings on the front cover. Now I attach the rest of the fabric on the back of the last page, and then I will adhere that last page to the back cover. And this will be it for creating like a structure of the album, and then I will decorate the covers. You could use a fabric glue for that place where you've got the fabric, but any strong craft glue will hold that with no problem. To be sure that everything is glued properly, I like to take chipboard pieces and metal clips. I use the chipboard pieces to protect the cover from any like how to say it, I don't want the clips to damage the cover basically, so that's why I use chipboard, and I would leave that to dry for a few hours. When everything is dry, I'm going to decorate the covers and add embellishments inside the album. You can add so many things inside. You've got gaps between the pages, so you could add flowers, lace. I will keep it simple. I will just add few wrap-ons on the circles where the openings of the flaps are, and then few stickers from Washi pad, and that will be it. Like I said, I try to keep it simple. For the covers, I'm going to use Stencil from Golden Harmony collection and the coffee ink. I will add some parts of the design here and there on the covers. I will add a bit of paint as well, and then also chipboard leaves. The chipboard is also from Golden Harmony collection. I mean, most of the things are from that collection here, as I want to keep it within the one collection, but of course you can use any collection. You can mix and match the products, and you know, whatever you fancy really. I'm just showing you the way of thinking when I create, and creating like the steps I take to create mini albums. A part of the chipboard leaves that I will add here to the front cover, I also have that element from the mold. Later you will see that I changed it for a different color one. I created it with the stone clay from Stamperia and mold from the collection. I wanted something different, but something like one element. I didn't want to embellish the cover heavily because I like the shape of the lantern, so I thought that will be enough. I just found out after painting the leaves that the color of that element doesn't match the leaves. That's why I swap it for a different color later. For the leaves I used the dark green paint, then I applied a bit of ivory paint and the brown paint to make them like, you know, not in flat color, so they've got different colors and they look actually really nice. And then I use the stencil to add here and there on the covers. I do not add the whole design fully, I just use the parts of the design to add also on some spaces on the cover, so one in the corner and then maybe something different in the other corner, and it looks really interesting. And off the camera I will also add this design inside the covers. I'm now finishing the album. This is the last element I'm adhering, and this will be it. It's a really long video. I hope you could watch it, and I really hope you will find it inspiring if you want to play with some papers, with some crafty shapes. You know, this is the one way of using them. Every Tuesday I have a new video where I use the crafty shapes, different shapes, creating different projects for various occasions. So I invite you to join me in the Tuesday evening to see what inspiration I'm bringing you. Thank you so much for joining me today. Please let me know what do you think about the video like that. I hope you do not find it too chaotic. And I hope that you will maybe try to use any of the techniques I showed you today. Well, thanks a lot. Have a lovely creative day. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.